127. Actually, that was done 5 years ago, so quite a long time. So here we are. We're finally at a different stage. Uh, my name is Tino Agan. I'm the division chief of the division Aquatic and Wildlife Resources Department of Ag. To my left is Jay Gutierrez. He is the assistant chief. Uh, if you're wondering about the individuals gathered around the table, they basically make up the our indigenous task force that have been meeting to draft these rules and regulations. Uh, and so basically they're here to witness this process. Uh, for the purpose of the public hearing is basically to provide an opportunity for individuals to present their testimony on the proposed rules and regulations. And so what I like to just emphasize is just to please sign in so that we have a record if you have not done so. If you would like to give testimony, please indicate on the sign-in sheet. What I'll do is we'll just go through it and then call individuals accordingly. What I like to do is just to let everyone know that the meeting is being recorded, so just be aware of that. This meeting is being held in accordance to the Administrative Adjudication Act of Title V, Guam Code Annotated. It's often referred to as the AAA process. And it basically states that before any rule is adopted, amended, or rescinded or repealed by any agency, it shall cause a notice to be published in a newspaper in general circulation in Guam at least 10 days prior to the date set for the public hearing. And just for a matter of record, we had actually, I had it, we had published it in the Guam PDN in September 3rd of 2014. And today is September 16, so we actually did a 13-day public notice. In addition to the draft rules and regulations, there is a copy of an economic impact statement that we basically put together just to also bring to light some of the other things that are being affected or may be affected by the rules and regulations. The process as far as this public hearing, in order to allow each person an opportunity to submit comment, we ask that each person limit their verbal testimony to 3 minutes. We also will accept written testimony in lieu of any of your verbal testimony. You could also give the verbal and also submit written testimony. We do not plan to do a back and forth discussion on the rules and regulations. Basically, if we went in that process, we would probably be here all through the night and maybe into the next day. So what we would like to do as per the AAA process is accept the testimony as a matter of record, and then go basically that becomes incorporated. In the AAA process, what we have to do is put this all together, and then we have to move it forward to the executive office, which is basically the governor of Guam. And we, as the agency of the Department of Agriculture, we basically function under the governor of Guam. So basically that's how that would follow through. So in lieu of that, or further ado, what I like to do is just move forward to the testimony. Um, One thing we didn't quite is if anybody wants to speak. Uh, Probably what we'll do is we just move the mic to the front, and then maybe what we could do is use that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Before we start, actually, has everyone signed in that wants to sign in? I'll come and let you guys. There's, as far as the list goes, there is at least 28, 29 people that have signed in. And so we'll go from there. Yeah. Yeah. If anyone would like a copy or copies of the draft rules and regulations, we have a few more. Trini Joyce also has some copies she can share. Yes, sir. You know what? What we can do is have it, if you can get it in by tomorrow. Because what we have to do is put it all together, probably by at least this week, and move it forward to the governor. What you could do is drop it off at our department, at the Department of Agriculture. You could do it by email. You could send it to me, TINO_Ugun. That's AGUON @yahoo.com. Okay. Yes. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The what we got to do is still put it together for yeah, yeah. I understand that. Yeah, yeah. We could hold up. We could flex that a little more. So at least I can. Yeah. But it was nice to get it sooner than later. Yeah. 5 days. Yeah. Sure. Do you have that? Yeah, just to be sure. Okay. Okay, where's the signage? Okay, who's first? Yeah. Just for the audience's information, we have for the first one, Josephine Jackson. Uh, you're going to provide written comments later, or no comments? Okay. Danny as well, Kathy McCullough will be providing. These individuals are actually part of the committee or the task force. Ben Garrido, Natlan Magahit, saying, if we go all the way down to, we have a Francis Munoz who will be turning in comments later. Sorry. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Mariano Kidichat, would you like to provide testimony? Okay. That's all. They declined. Yeah. Oh,
Tino, on the draft rules and regulations, I know you had a phone call, and I want it on record that on page 4, we'd like a word inserted on 12102A, the indigenous aborigines of Guam. Please put off Guam. And 12102F, your on the second line, Chamorro Registry 2 needs to be separated from registry. And 12102G, on the first line, funds collected from these fees shall be used specifically for enhancement and implementation. I don't think you need to put that word to. I'm sorry, the first correction, 12102 on page 4, 12102 harvest regulations, 12102A, indigenous aborigines of Guam shall have the right to fish in all coastal waters of Guam. The next correction, 12102F, on the second line, the Chamorro Registry 2 is connected to registry, so if you can just separate it. 12102F, on the second line, the Chamorro Registry 2 is connected to registry. We just separate that. Funds collected from these fees shall be used specifically, so you don't need to have two, so just chuck the word out, two. So you can eliminate two, okay, T-O. No, there's a bunch being handed out. So far, those are the only corrections that I have found. And with all those corrections added in, I feel that we should move forward and we approve the rules and regulations. I'll second that. With the additions of the corrections, I'd like to move that we accept these fishing rules and regulations for indigenous fishing as presented with the corrections. Another note, Tino, your economic impact statement. I don't want to dwell on it too long, but I know you're mandated to follow this. But just a reminder, the Department of Agriculture is a government of Guam agency. It's not ruled by the federal government. It is our own government of Guam agency. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Next is Mr. Nelson. Would you like to provide? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Would you like to provide testimony, sir? Okay.
Hello. Anyways,
There you go.
my name is Robert Baumgartner. They call me Toots. I'm originally from Barragada. Todo familiar ko man pescador. Land and sea. I problema gini first of all sa luha nan Tino. Manam so. Alpha Fishong Chief. Okay, mungi director. Sleeping? Oh, no idea. That's sad. Okay, maritira. Sama running na Uzo district also direct for. Next time, this is only my advice. When you have meeting like this, we want the number 1 and number 2. We get number 3 honchos. We want the 1 and 2. Sama, minastutod ba? So, well, I do not like to talk to the administrator below. I like to talk to the director and the deputy director. But that's me. Don't feel bad sa compare na mo kasi all these people are going through hell. All our ancestors, it's not man fan lot like pescador. Tomorrow, so fligayo gano. You're supposed to be on this chair, not that chair. Dispensazo, just few minutes na to control. Pero no control siya yung maniluta gini mo gini. La latas ti brat, tanotas ti. Esta osno ang inhafa ma problema i-government na Guam o federal government. Basta may kung sa nababariason bro, at hindi tao mo siya. Public servant operate, you're there to help people like us. You're not there to try to protect. No. You're supposed to protect us. Adro na mo pa. Uto nga na masoso ni senator, whatever. I'm asking you right now, the next meeting that you guys have, this is my opinion, ha? We want the number 1 and 2 to sit down here, not you, Sel. It's that posangan. Susmasi.
Next, thank you. Is Devalago? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So she left no map was Lisa. Vicente Guido, would you like to provide testimony? Ben. The uncle Ben.
I'm gonna go out see Vicente Garrido. Chamorro, tau guamo agasa di cantori do Quan Sisters. Os botisti na reglamento agas na problema di Debbie na panagiginya na wala mo na malufan gato ki latura sinidot todo sa mapasos na reglamento da fakpo gaso tao da rason na patapan nagagaya gini kulan gausanok na man makalaniset na tatawag dana maninunit gini patapan mamaisip po diri sota patapang miska gasong kita nota langin sinay na tibo ni Indian kita Amerikana man manay diretsyon niya gitu niya tanong niya dataza ni uno na apuka kumontra na ang constitution pues ti depi na para gini islata loke pues mala da telepon apos ti telefonadan lagi hadi no malago kumontra ni pues kontra Zong koni tori samuru ngato gi kotti. Datapan man malaki kotti. Lo dangin samoro da pung kontras tinay. Pus man masat kita. Man masat kita. Sa hita an hita mana kontra. Dedi da tanaparas ti. Tanaparas ti da tanapan mingguti da tapandanya. Lugar ita pana kontra. Diri tsotas ti. Gini na zu statas ti na diretso. Ahi ti gini na Estados Unidos este. Tingin na Estados Unidos. Na diri tsotas tingin na zu statas din man mapanahogit sa muro gini gitan. Tanota mas gi 4 minutes. Tempo tati. Pues, inawa da esta magafo na manazan este. Na malala tanapakpo. Tanapakpo da basta ngasung mana dagi gini gi tanota. I hapa perta tsogwi. Na kada hapa ko ano mana contest no tagina tigini o munga sa no guatu se otro tauta mana saka gini parafa no. I gua otro tauta mana saka gini. Gayo gini. Mato mga gini pon pambisita piso mago respeta ilay tani dire sun tau no Jesus masi.
Thank you, Mr. Vicente. Just to give a really brief translation to the non-Chamorro speakers, Mr. Garrido basically stated in his support of the rules and regulations, and that we, as Chamorro, as the Chamorro people, should basically stay together in moving forward of the regulations. Thank you. Haguno si Magalahim Maganiti. Maganiti.
Oi, Ustaza. Gua hafde gua si Magalahin Maganiti. Then zao lai na pu sangani tau tau ni man matu dangklu na golf machine ne mizu magi za precisus ti puta pertei hajit guni ki tanota za debi nai tanota debi tanai ta debi gua ha lai kontra hita guni na tau ni hafa fa lo si Department of Agriculture ne man malefan i Magasmia Department of Interior. Then half Department of Interior tagilay niya si Fayet para i-Indians ni endangered species tasinya mapreso i-Indians. Pres nisita agriculture loke pumatungo na Magasmia tay taw Guam i-Department of Interior sa SG like niya i-Organic Act. Pres zawesti za liling niya toda taw tawno gizaguam sinya mameska. La puna fan la lai famalan mizo sa sinyam sa mamangoni guihan zong kanu gigima sa pafa pagu pun fan hasuna ni sita sa lapi pun famahan guihan sta za dangkalo na golf mausi
Again, for the non-Chamorro speakers, just to briefly summarize, Mr. Basically reminded that the Department of Agriculture, my division, basically are answering to the federal government for all the funding and all the programs that we have. And so he he basically ended up with his support for the rules and regulations. Thank you. That's what you said? No, no, you're the guy. Okay. We're happy. Really. Yes, there you go. Next is Juan Flores. Mr. Flores. Okay, now you might. Isikat.
Tres minutos sama na iho pa ako. Anyway, kaza kwa. No, no.
Test.
Okay. Okay. Pues no, ahe, no muna kay kiso gwini para be o. Okay. Pabe sa nganyam do na dongkulo na grasya. Dongkulo na si dos masi. Ja, wahu si Juan Flores. Dispensa jo ah. Dispensa. Wahu si Juan Flores. Juan Martinez Flores. Mafanyaw ko na kanya jo. Lo mapuksay jo giza litigzan. Okay? Pues anyway, pabeyo sa nganya amzo gwini todos na si dos mga sini finatun mizo gwini magi. Si dos mga silo kwe no Department of Agriculture no. Dan todo dos amzo si dos infam binindisi. Pues anyway, talo. Ahit dito matang iso gwini. Parimpan maasin no sa ahit tinama si do na tauto. Kada usangan istinay ana hasudo edi antigo siya tatina na manenaho. Ni todo man matasandag yung banda. Okay. Después, toda dale, pago i-implement ito siya na lay. Luhaga sa antes no pumipis ka zo. Mahamidan si Parinkin, Rivera niya aga sa no umeto pa kam, dahil pago na yun na para ben panuli lisensya. Sa ilisensya na hunggan lo lami ade lo kwe fangay masi no sti tautono pues esti muna insetsigi sti put para iminaulik itano ahi ti konto zo tetinan dan konto si pagat tetinan konto man imanggayi gi junta kumikilinga i-meeting konto na tao-tao. Pues insetsigi sti ahi ti para hami. Para imanmamela siya na generasyon dan para ipamagun mami. Pues, you know, pedang ko na si dos masi para todos amdo. Si dos masi. Ungano supportisti usugov supportisti yana no okasyon. Pues si dos masi talo.
So Masi, Mr. Flores, again, just to real quickly summarize, he basically gave his emotional support for the rules and regulations for the generations of today and for the generations of the past as well. Thank you. Okay, Julia Rivera, would you like to provide testimony, yes or no? Okay, thank you very much. In support. Okay, thank you.
My name is Julia Rivera. I'm just here to support the regulation. Thank you.
My name is Joaquin Rivera from Bargota. I like the rules and reg. Only one question I have is on 12102I. If we don't have the card, can we use the Chamorro registry form? If we don't have the card yet, can we include that in? Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Tony? Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, just to reiterate, I understand Mr. Rivera's question. Uh, in a way, what we're trying to do is not go back and forth. Probably that would be for the task force to entertain and discuss. No, that would be the proper forum and format in which to do that. Mr. Rivera basically brought up the issue, no, of using the Chamorro registry for the documentation. So we could do, maybe that's basically what we could do. Sure. Sure. Okay. Understood. Mr. Duenas? Si Manny, no? Manny. Ah. count some other?
Hold on, hold on.
Hold on. Can we count some? Like, or count. Oh, Fred.
Okay. Look,
Like,
let me.
can we cough? Can we cough? Can we cough? Let's not.
Let me do this.
Come everybody.
Listen up. Hey, panikumo ka, panikumo. The question here is to find a solution to our indigenous rights so that everybody here in Guam can support it. And that's the reason why we're here to sit down and see if we could have an understanding. And when I have the 3 minutes to speak, I'll explain something. Because our rights to native fishing on Guam is no different from the Native Americans.
Thank you, everyone, for keeping it, for maintaining some degree of decorum. Thank you very much for that. I know the topic can get fairly hot. I think Mr.
Iman mabidadata, ginikisata. Dangin sinya otro siya na natibo, gitaw to'y Islandia. Matsogi malago niya. Hafa na gusmakat, tis niya na gwini. Hafa na gusmakat. Tungafa, dinansi lang di Samoan government. No? Antay tayo news ni government. Ni Samoan government, they're not in a rush to become U.S. citizen. You know why? Asanga na. Ngalana kumutatsulis ni. Madzamak is the traditional than the culture. And this is what we're having now. The destruction of our Chamorro culture and language because of what we are now. Second-class U.S. citizens. Thank you.
I know we're Chamorros, but we have to follow the procedure, okay? Let's try and follow it.
There you go. Thank you. If Francis Munoz, yeah. How gonna? There you go.
My name is Francis Munoz, and I'm in full support of the bill. And with all respects to those who have different differences. Brother, I love you all, man. I love you all. I don't care what your color is. Yellow, green, purple, candy apple, red. I really don't give two S's for it, you know. I love you all. mentioned something about brothers and sisters from the outer islands that had negotiated their freedom, their compact negotiations. I have been working with this asshole consul general, okay, for the last 20, 30 years, trying to set him straight, to educate his people. There was no indoctrination. I was there to receive the first 5,000 from FSM. Some of them have kept their FSM or FS citizenship, and a lot of them have decided to be U.S. citizens. I have been working. I am one of those. I have been working. We have directed them to the hospitals, educational systems. There was no communication when they negotiated their compact. Okay. Those are just some of the things for the last 20, 30 years that we have been working with, from Superior Court all the way to the governors. And we have very little communication with the Consul General, okay? I don't care who works for the Consul General here. I have been on his ass for the longest time. He has screwed up for so many times, okay? His people are starting to go against him because of the fact that money has been squandered and not used for the purpose of indoctrination, education, and advancement, and being, so what they say, part of the westernized world, and all that, and all the reports that go to Washington, when they eat hamburgers at McDonald's, that all goes in with the intelligence report. I've been working with these people for the longest time. They went against me. All right. So where am I at now? Now I'm fighting them. As far as you mentioned something about fishing, that you see some of our brothers and sisters from the other islands fishing with no restrictions. I've seen the federal government allow them to fish. I've watched them, recorded them, videoed them, and everything. Being one son from a father who was a Navy man. When we were born, he threw us into the deepest part of the ocean, and that was in a gunny sack. Hopefully, you will come back to shore. So we were divers, scuba. I don't care what you call it, man. We've been out there since I was a little infant. That is where we grew up. I respect, brother. I respect your statement. I'm not going to go against you. The environmental impact statement, there was so much that was not included on the environmental impact. Okay, I guess what the task force here and this bill is supposed to do is try to give us back some of those rights that has been taken away. We have preserves, and I respect people that are assigned fish and wildlife, aquatic, whatever you call it. I respect the people that from conservation and all that, because there's been a lot of damages out in the reefs, starfish, whatever you call it, balatis. I remember growing up when I was a little boy, the balati, when it's low tide, my grandmother will give me a bucket, and I will go out there and I'll put about 20, 30 balatis in that 5-gallon container, and I'll put some water about halfway up, and I'll start rubbing that thing, trying to rub out the blowing, the anesthesia out of the balati, and I'll go and pour that thing in the little holes, and the fish will come floating. Have you seen that? They'll come floating out, okay? So I am a fisherman, and I will defend whatever you call it, custom or traditional fishing. I respect fishermen that sell their fish for a living, and I understand the expense that comes with that. A lot of them live on boats. I was in the Indian reservation for the longest time, and I understand. You'll see restricted areas all over. I have to go to the burial grounds. I go to the river. I have to be accompanied with one of my blood brothers, Indian blood brothers.
Okay, Mr.
So I
Munoz.
understand everything. But with all respects,
we'll have to,
I am in full support of this bill.
Okay, thank you very much.
With all respects
Okay,
to my brothers and sisters that have difference in opinion, okay?
thank you very much, Mr. Munoz. So, pardon? You want to say something? Okay. Mariano Kidichay?
thing. I'm Mariano Drenes Kinatsev from Barrigada. I've been fishing since 9 years old. I'm almost 80 years old. But who cares, Mr. Kinatsev, whether 300 years old? What I care is the culture, our Chamorro culture. Chamorro culture. If anybody could understand that Chamorro culture is dying. And you know where is the Chamorro culture now? It's in Kwame Moro, in ICU. And I want the legislature and anybody here against this legislation to understand and take that culture and out from that ITCU. Or ICU.
I see you.
I'm not gonna talk about me since 9 years old, going to Tomum from Barrigada to Tomum to fish. But my grandmother from Tarfofo, she went to Tomum and she met this San Nicolas, King San Nicolas Hilario. So that's why I'm here now, because that's my grandfather. He made baby from my grandmother just for Tiao. My grandmother, my mom, my dad is 1Q Kinatsay from Hilario, just for Tiao. But who cares about the Hilario or Mariano Kinatsay? What I'm worried is our culture is dying. I want this now to wake up and take it out from the ICU. If anybody don't understand what is culture, and I hope somebody will. Somebody will stand up and start shouting about the fishing. We are here to understand each other, not to fight, not to quarrel. We're here for the best of our Chamorro culture. Stick dancing is culture, but can you put the stick dancing in the table to eat? I'm 40 years in construction, about 6 to 7 category, but still need to go fishing for my kids, to teach my kids and my grand. How can I teach if you close those people, they go to some place and they die, and the good fishing area is prohibited? I think I'm gonna shut up before I get stroke.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kidachek. Next we have, is it Doreen? It's the number 16. Doreen.
Doreen and Leon Guerrero.
LG.
Hapaday, I'm Doreen Longuerrero from Sinahana. I'm here for supporting for fishing right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doreen. John eats at. Yeah. Would you like to?
John what? John.
Eats.
Thanks, guys. I'm just going to stay in my seat. I'm not going to stand up. What I wanted to say to you guys was, yeah, I'm a white guy, but I've been here since the early 70s. And I started the co-op, or helped start it, and I was your rep to the feds for many years. So I know what I'm talking about. And these indigenous rights are wonderful things, but they're not gonna fly very far. What you need to do is stop the sale of longline fish on J&G, Cost You Less, other places, so that the guys that fish for a living can make a living. Now, I understand these kind of rules for Tiao and Atulai, because Johnny Atulai and I have been friends for a long time. But this is not going to work until you take seriously the fact that number 2 fad has been up on Magundas for 6 months. And all the fish that you see in J&G and cost you less doesn't come from me or your Chamorro brothers or anybody else. It comes from Taiwanese longliners. And the reason why is because it's rejected. It's rejected because it's not big enough or fresh enough. And until we do something about the bottom line, guys can't afford to fish anymore. Fuel's too expensive, ice is too expensive, costs are too expensive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yates. Maybe we just sort of.
That's right, because they don't provide the high price of $30 a pound that the air freighted fish get when they're put on the plane. That's correct.
Thank you very much. Next we have Alan Albinder.
Thank you. My name's Alan Ainbinder. I'd like to directly address a couple of the points in the proposed indigenous rules that concern me. The first one is that indigenous Aborigines of Guam shall have absolute right over X, all over the bodies of water in the EEZ. Just wanted to, I don't understand what Guam considers their EEZ versus what the federal.
What page is that, sir?
I'm on, I'm sorry, 1202E. The indigenous Aborigines of Guam shall have absolute right to the bodies of water, including and then it goes into the definition, and the EEZ. The federal EEZ goes out 200 miles. I'm not quite sure what the Guam's definition of the EEZ is. The same. That would be a point of contention, I think. You would need to work that out very clearly. From my understanding, Guam always was controlled out to 3 nautical miles, and then federal waters then fell after that. So you'd want to make sure you cover that in your explanation of the EEZ. It also wasn't clear then whether there were exclusionary clauses to then exclude me from fishing. So I understand that you're saying you control those waters, you want to have rights over those waters, but you're not saying whether I can or cannot fish in those waters. And that's where I got very confused by what you're trying to do here. If you're trying to do indigenous rights and indigenous fishing, for example, in Hawaii, there are quite a few, from what I could find, areas specifically designated, quite broad areas, not small, like, this bay or that bay, specifically for those kind of things. So I got confused as to whether I'm being excluded or whether I'm not being excluded, because it's kind of, it's how you read it. At first I thought I'm being excluded. The more I studied it, you never said I'm being excluded. So I just want to I don't understand that, And then if this does go through and you do get this approved, then exclude me? Because then that becomes, a lot of legal challenges, as Mr. Duenas pointed out earlier. The other point that concerned me was the taking. Sorry, I'll tell you what I'm referencing. 1202 D, just above it. The right to use all fishing methods shall be permitted to include everything. I would like to say that if you're going to do indigenous fishing and then are you going to require indigenous tools? Might be something to consider. I do agree somewhat with the rule about the scuba tanks. I'm mixed feelings on it. I do disagree with the jet ski options, because there are economic benefits to that, and that the areas they're currently in are already pretty much gone in terms of fishing. It would take, I mean, I couldn't even imagine how long it would take to get the schools of fish back into East Agania Bay or over in Adelup. So that might be something you would like to readdress as well. So I have certain points I'm in favor for, certain parts I'm completely confused on, and certain parts I support. Thank you.
Less than a minute.
Are you next? I'll go next.
Okay.
Yeah, you're next.
I guess I'm next.
Joe Garrido.
I'm a little. I guess I've grown a little older, so I potentially have a chance to forget if I don't mention it when I remember it. Mr. Einberg, Mr. Alan Binder mentioned something that if we're going to exercise in indigenous fishing, that we should just be fishing indigenously using the fishing implements that were available 500 years ago. Of course, that is silly, to say the least. We fish with whatever is available and convenient for us today. If we're going to use a Russian trawler to fish as an indigenous person, there's no prohibition for that. If we're going to trawl with a Japanese hook, no one's going to be there to say you can't do that because you're not using a Chamorro compound fishing, trawling that was invented 2,000 years ago. The person that actually started that should have not done that, and he works for Department of Agriculture or WIRI or some kind of person that if you're going to fish indigenously, you must be naked. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. We throw that thing out of the window. But I want to ask Mr. Einbanger that requiring Chamorros to fish traditionally in the same concept of somebody 300 years ago here in Guam, if I was to say that we're going to prohibit a fisherman today, a non-indigenous person, from using Japanese or Chinese-made boat, and that all the boats to be used trawling around Guam would be U.S.-made, would you agree? Is there anyone, are we all using U.S.-made outboard motors? Or the majority of our fishing implements are made in China, perhaps, or Japan. So that's out the window. What I'm going to start with, and try to speak fast, even though I'm not a fast speaker. Every question that we're posing today, in opposition or in favor of the indigenous fishing right, has already been, I can say 99% gone through the Supreme Court. If anybody cares to research in the internet, they've got tons of Native American rights documents. I want to say that even NOAA, who is, somebody said, opposing this, actually helped out a Native American who has a tradition of fishing for whale every year that involves not only domestic right but international right, and it was discussed even in the United Nations. But eventually, in 1997, the Maka tribe were allowed to fish, to catch whale that were prohibited from being caught by other nations. And the problem with what we're doing now is we're doing it ourselves because nobody is helping us. That's the main thing you got to remember. The federal government is not helping us to protect our indigenous right. And that's the reason why we're here to help ourselves. And it's just kind of ironic that almost every Native American rights treaties, the federal government sits down and assists the Native American in court because the states challenges this Indian. The state challenged that native tribe. The federal government steps in and say you can't do that. They have treaty rights, they have Native American rights. Not only can they fish in the reservation, but outside of the reservation in their traditional fishing areas. So what I'm saying is, nobody said it's going to be easy. You think we're going to fight with non-indigenous people? We have worse fights with our own people. Because, Manzo Asid, we care about the rights of other people from other places much more than we care for our own. And I think it's time that we establish our own familial rights, fishing rights, traditional rights, cultural rights, because once we establish that and we understand who we are, we're going to understand who is Mr. Atherton. We're going to understand who is Mr. Eats or Barn Hamburger or whoever. Nobody's saying Mr. Atherton or Eats is not going to fish. We just haven't finished the bill. We just haven't finished writing it. We're just starting to find out for ourselves what rights do we have. And believe me, we have human rights. And that right came from God. That's all I gotta say.
Trini Torres, and just as a reminder, if we could keep it to 3 minutes.
Thank you for allowing me.
Oh, sorry.
Si Trini Torres magahaga of Tatamona Native Rights, haga sa stita tsunnik ipe derechota. ¿Cuántos años sigue manacontra de fiot magai dinancio y totauta más si no tomotsonik tate sumisio kid. Sumisio kuntung ofa sio ka. Yes, tamo usay si gisan tati. Ungan ja ikuturata hungan guaha no traidot lokwi. Magalahi guatriot traidot taitay historia history ja ifamagun matutungos ti ja anega mata español ja para todo hit man macalanisha ja para toski todo malagonia pesiga totawan man investitati hungan man medgut tomorrow siga man investi ka man mapepedin man investi lo guaha for ejemplo na tauto na magalay man magaganas ta español ja hot me todo dunia fortress Ja esta pamapuno todo no. Matus ti traidor na chamorro otro talo si hineti. Ja puno chamorro sa ajuda Espanyol. Pues edgi na guaha. Dangkulos tin ejemplo. Na hunggan mismo tong tama na akontrain mana punuin. Jam guaha mas masapopot ito to sa nijong put hafa ino na klase. Estigin titigis ti agasa ja bulay kini gi rules and regulation we're compromising. Ja hunggan din nanti dileg mo ni dito si Drenas no si not Drenas no hunggan o repara ito na debi ditas ta sangan hafa hit no ta chotso gui jan unggan i diretso ta put unwa estina diretso ta mumumuti pago di pesca santung afa man mamatay tau ta gihutong man pepiska gi peligro na lugar just kaya i studia i research study ni matugi na distine matutuho ni marine preserves that double of the drowning of our people fishing out there has more than double. Jadi kontrahan bago ha tipo pineksay di famaguot ang matay tatanya pananandiya ni manahang na mabeska gi peligro na lugar. Ko hago pong pogsay Opiofan sa polo sa mga hit mamumuti di chota sa tikabalis buenta sita mamumuti todo di chota self-determination hunggan manahan manulu para United Nations is at Geneva mahando for our human rights Jagwagi International Court Logwaha Loki Native Americans man magana all the way to the Supreme Court. In 1905, the Supreme Court like na the taking of treaty, the like mugi yung mention tayo sa that treaty, hunggan Espanyol mo reposition tahit, idun niya treaty of Paris or treaty of peace, whatever you call it. It's the same treaty. Kongreso mapreba jo, lo tukati mapreba ni Kongreso como esta dos nación, mumu gumera Jagwa gumana pues etige. Bos manasana wed gi papa Espanyol. Tada jota treaty. The Lengnasti Supreme Court judge na the treaty is a taking of rights from the Native Americans, the Native Indians, not the giving of rights. Bos hasuanawa, not the giving of rights. We never surrendered anything to anybody. Even to the US, even to the Japanese, man mapuno ta la siga ta kontra, masya dumiti na diretso ta tsuli tati, masya pesca ha, por no fan mate ta gi peligro na lugar, tatsogwi, penta si todo man mamatay ta, edzigi na ta susungun ni pumalo siya ni sige matsoni, tatsogwi, tafan man investi tati, Munga matsomaham. Okay? Munga matsomaham na mga matsogi sa diritso muloki in mumumuji. Jesus mahasi.
Hello, my name is Dexter Perez. I just will try to make this fast because the topic's so much, okay? Anyway, my topic for today is if you guys can amend and see the Taladzero down in Tumon, where you're going to cast from the shore in. You know, some Taladzeros cannot throw far, okay? You need to go at least knee-high, and all Taladzeros know that. Another thing is, how come only we're going to catch Sedzon and Kitsu on the reef? Sometimes they got Tatagang, really. I don't want to eat that all the time, man. You know, amend that again, please. Come on me. I'm gonna eat steak all the time. I get tired, okay? stuff like that. And you know, we're getting older. Pretty soon, I have to walk in the water knee high, okay, to throw my talaza, okay. So I mean that. Come on, me. Okay, it's gonna be there. Oh, Lana, I like that. And as about other preserves, we can have talaza on the reef. Even on the Lana, case close. I'm going to sit down. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
As long as it's for our table. Sustainable only, okay? We haven't touched on the commercial yet, okay? And we eventually want to do that. We are forming a task force that would brought into probably the commercial part or, okay? So just letting you know that. Let's tackle this one first.
Thank you.
Subsistence, commercial facilities.
Let's keep moving. Eric, thank you very much. Okay. You want to go? All right. Trustee,
I got something here to say, okay? My name is Offing Jackson, married to Bogat, this guy over here. Remember that Bill 29-127, okay? It read, in spite of this historical discriminations, Chamorros were able to maintain their traditions and skills for offshore fishing inside the reefs. Now those traditions and skills are in danger of being lost in the face of modern conservation restrictions and the pressures of population growth caused by the influx of non-Chamorros people into Guam that have increasingly made the indigenous Chamorros a majority in their own homeland. So that's why we're doing this fishing rights like the rules and regulations. So it's in the law. It's in Public Law 29-127. It is in the law. We're going to have to stop this discrimination. It was started from the Spaniards, then the naval, now the senators back in the 29th legislature made it clear, stop discriminating. We do not want to discriminate anymore. So that is why we're doing these rules and regulations, and that is what this law is for, and it's only for sustainable. Sanamwasi.
thank you, Alfie. Next is Eric Cruz. Would you like to comment? No? No. Okay, come on, please. Okay. Is it Stefan? Stefan Meno, yeah. Or Steve Meno.
Hi. Stefan or Steven, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Or Stefan, doesn't matter.
Or Stefan.
Just concerns with two, letter M and letter O on page 5. Singling out scuba spearfishing. Just please consider and remember that spearfishing alone is a very selective method. Okay, we only shoot what we want or what we want to eat. Okay, basically picking on a specific device is kind of pointing fingers. Okay. Letter O, the use of jet skis on inland. Due to economic hardships, a lot of our brothers and sisters, local and non-local, are looking to more economical, vehicles to basically to get to spots and to go fishing. Okay, the use of jet skis, a lot of them found it where it's very economically an advantage. You use less gas, and it's safety is always there because they have the boat or the jet ski to go to. And just please consider that the younger generations they're branching out and they're looking for they're trying to use technology to practice our culture and to continue it fishing. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Next is Ron Laguatnia. Ron Laguatnia. 3 minutes, please.
Okay, what is the day? si Ron Lagwanya zu pescador zu tinliliw pumeska lo pescador zu sa gogowa na may sa pumeska ko aji malung na tu pescador zu lo pume pescadzo me gamsuno liliw fo lo tinliliw sa gogowa na may sa pumeska edza pa besangan na klaro no na pescador zu la tunga si celuta sa gana mafaktam gi celuta dan na matulaikam mahungang para sesun lo ngan magai tafana comprendi zata taspiam penyo ta reglas ti zata na bonito ta ajuda todo man ta na mas fino ta na claro lo mala zata fana comprendi ta tsogi sa matucina descendenansi todo man maniluta na nisita ta fana comprendi zata regla lo esta mate ora da Canada lena lata fiwa uli loki ina maniluta ni man liliof gi otrubandan ni man tautsana na tausi zagwao sa tiu bebendi kineu ukakano una fanotsu i familia me ena yo lo tundilio sa gogowa na maisa gwa na manami ni mangatsu lo fiwa gawa na maisa zantunga na peligro lo zauzo na klasi sa tizao na poma brota isagaw ni mano na mapumipeskao lo adza pabesangan tino Jesus masi na on zamas tina na punto zani manelo ni magagi gini la masa don todo ni magagi gweni tahungo kafai puntunia zata considera zata fana comprendi zata sonex timona loredancia si celuta na tana claro i indigenous rights lo magai itaha na mai sa sumotsonik bala da tafan ono mo na sa tima jujuda ni federal mas pipia empeño para malomena man matsandai man mafababa lo tafana comprendi da tarik lasti esta guahati netun hagas magotisti pues mala zata sonik mo na zata taspian penyo zata na maulik para todo sa edu magait mani in spipia zisha in the freely associated states eno siya in tingwa hafa bidaninya in sanga na tintingo lo in tingwa hafa bidaninya lo in spipia penyo para ta regla no sa gitasinia siya sinya mampesca gitasinia esta matu hujung gi malili tsagugu hujung gi representasyon distitano para hujung itasin mali hujung logwini ki jagwam mamasangangan ni stana na zonia sta itasin gohan za ufafana no siya ki hujung za ulili todo idinistrosa bidaninya tudu dia tudu puengi eda bedaninya za inggan esta guaha en iilaw ano para ta regla no kosaki hitaha para ta fana probetsa mos ta regla no siya za fan munga so fan peska gi hujung chuka fan peska chagugu hujung gi ta za gwa logini giriza sa unliya botinia migainya sa botinia ta za botiu lo ulili hapa dinistrosaninnya sama maupu sao timalilio stealth divero lo ulili hapa dinistrosaninnya jasta fiwa masangonyo na zonia Guam sangonyo micronesian lainnya we own Guam jahapanuyo kalesa pues esta ta regla no siya sempia ta fandana ta napara no siya per ta utut ikinenininnya ta regla lo malaja ta supportisti tino hu nanai hamju dongklu nagarisimento lo supportisti lo tanafino zatafan kami naulik para todo eza si Diyos masi.
Thank you, Ron. Next is James Borja. Would you're going to submit that written testimony there? Thank you, Mr. Borja. There's a
Second board, just administratively, if you look at page 5 on, the sections O and P. If you're looking at what you're trying to update a fishing regulation and under harvest rules, you're throwing in jet ski regulation and power engine cleaning of the road. That should not belong in this section as far as harvest regulation. That should be what you're harvesting and how you're harvesting it, not what can be in the water. Jet skis is out of, why is it even in the fishing section? And the same with using engines to clean the beach. That's not a fishing regulation. That's a land use, water use, but you're reaching there, trying to throw in everything on there. So look at the section that you're trying to update. It's regarding harvest regulations under a fishing regulation. So if you're going to insert something in there, make sure it fits that category and it's fully vetted out and not just, there's no jet ski operators here that's going to see that, trying to sneak that in on them. That's my comment. And
thank you, Mr. Borja. Next is Fred Uggan. Hauko. Fred.
When they call my name, nowadays, because even when I first year in college, my name is Agon. My professor pronounced my name Agon, and I honestly I don't answer. But then he asked me, "What's my name?" I said, "Fred Agon." But the thing is, my name Fred, and sometimes I overheard say Frank. So I don't know the pronunciation. But anyways, my name is Fred Agon. I'm recently retired from Department of Education. But let me ask first a question here. Did Mr. Duenas, do you know what is, again, Mr. Duenas? So you say you're a fisherman or not a fisherman, but can you tell me the basic thing in Pumiskan Sulu? Huh? What is the first basic thing you have to do in Pescan Sulu? And what? The moon and the tide. Huh? Yeah, but you know what's Pescan Sulu? Yeah, can you tell me what you're catching there in Pescan Sulu? What kind of fish in Samoro? Yeah, kumbakin mo reef fish, right? Okay. Now, sino ang Pescan Sulu kanilagwa? Huh? I don't think so, like. Sino sezon dan yeah. Sino on diskip zang may tarakito sa gwa gatsongo stabay ni ipi lengan na paki tarakito na spear gun tarakitan talo kokosan malesos at auto malesos zo like apaking kita luan 2 o'clock in the afternoon dana da si biusa motay apapalo todo nila paki tarakito gats at sige mas masali guyang gitano honestly modoro ya. Pero sige no ikwentos na iguana yung amigo lai. Ikwentos la iguana para bonabago iguana usulo. Anyways, toda gwini bentila man ngaigi gwini gila masak gwini. Toda amzo menti mapipis ka. Lamang maulong na para tintingo mamiska gaso. Sina pamiska o sulo perfect ko bentina. Sina no mauli ko gaso na ume tapon. Pesca di tapon. No, anyways, it puntok ko ginilay. Gipago na po niya. Anong tungo ni Fresi gifinot sa moro na lengi rin sako, my heritage. Dan di soko. Now, zangin leng mo na, irin siyamo, irin wahimo, kuturamo, dan apa siya sa moro na. Pus debi na, di umapriteji na. Sa todo tauto gilotano na tiningolay. Angin adjige ang Tagalog asong no langwahin niya. Debi di pretezo pareha ang Samoro lay law itanay. Beto nga pa dipiktotar ay winigit Samoro. What are my problems? I'm being Chamorro. And I've been in organization from when I was in high school, gasong down in Meleso. Like, now you know what's the problem with people? when they ask them to come for a meeting, they don't come because they're busy doing things and all that. And after the meeting's over, they complain. They this is wrong, this is wrong, this is not, right? Now, where were you when they asked you to come in? That this has been announced, been published. Of course, now it's for indigenous rights here. But anyway, going back to the Renshakulai, my heritage, don't tell me you're going to take away my Chamorro language, gats. Langbahiyo. Samwit aday, so akagwel. No, don't tell me again to take off my fishing rights. Sa benti ulumus ako, gats. Now, honestly, like, Melefan sa parat man meeting ini mandanyam gini judo sa besangane wa ini pago mandanyam sa pago nasakan si de Marikita taita gigatsung and si Tino and si Mr. Gutierrez gini ababa kana iniya para tapan matsotso si Tino kana impression apa ben segwi gini linga hamdrin segwi rules yuzu anoyam tempo antes na tempo masangangan na mapabebensegwe sa baytunga pa iminalago niya timae kung malago indigenous itaw-tono malago niya. Now by opio atalo Mr. Drainers aji jodo musya nay este anay indigenous este law sempe aman motte gi aji commercial fishing dan todo lay paugustin kikitsogu este para at least if sino mano uzungi gatsungi gwini gi za gatna gato za masyalay apan mano na preserve za sinya zo mangoni gwian za itamar ni Chamorro man conservative gatsong na tawgi an papatatsogi sa titakonya todo lay an para ta talodza nay para ta noano para ta pisaw an mangonit gipisautan idikiki gadaw gatsong ti tasusut ta zombie si bio ini antes ini guardo fashion stinos tina cuestión aji gigaw nay the fish were igigaw tun totok sa igwen solo no 60 wa sa gay kesta gibetsa igwen post bana italodza na alalogwa nezi gazun ando pes ang ami pagni tiuni dikiki nay ana ang wat dikiki an pelolong ya sagwan right za dikiki igwen inset tambi zi conservative that's one way low in masanganyo agricultura si Mr. Tebet sa Tebet fisheries Tebet say okay, asanganyo na yung malam na the reason why naman para si gigaw sa tilek niya stilogawa alikuman ng blinto itaw-taw lay sa no ang ginaplante gigaw niya na naso niya na tano niya si bato plante gigaw dati orsa sa gwa regulasyon na ibiyo aswa na kada 3 meses David yung rotate gigaw mo daw na priplikatalo zazangin ng perunak sa gigaw mo una suwati toding gagi gwi tala istakan yung nudo per rebar pada baba na lamli na suwa lo buna na tao to si na suwa betsa na jay mamaling na lamli bepe mala asota dan istaka zongan ay dinansya si rasomne tao to lay lo itombe angin mamesket lay ti para ta latsya para esta na intención para isota subsistence ala okay ti para ta mambendig bien sina 20 antin na tempo an mangonis bio no guian sa megay na inanay finit ni man malongo gi sengsong pesi nanay di si pamalo gi bisino no ni ti man pescador na para pa lo anyways pwede za stigi pago na integrity task force as council pago no wini na tempo pwede lai no este agricultura tunga na prebeste na klase regulación na pues estura pwede lai o manahalo mesti lai ni probably lo 2927 ni pa manahalo mesti zurmase.
Thank you, Mr. Pagod. Talajero.
Gracias a Dios por todos dando voces televisores de esperan. I'm for Bill 327. And one of the things that we're here today is because agriculture itself failed to respect a cultural perspective. And in looking what has been done by preserving inputted and not balancing the fishing for the indigenous people, and you block this from us. I am one who every day and night visit this water was. I can't imagine why we're here today discussing this. Had there been respect for us being in our own island and providing cultural perspective. And when I see this dialogue of different regulations and it's not enhanced with the culture, and then Fish and Wildlife comes in and do a preserve and regulates this regulation, and some can go out there, and we're supposed to stay inside. Now, when I think about the generations since 1960 back all the way to the front to 1990s, we were given the chance to lay our nets in the channel at a certain time, but was never stopped for any reason because of a boat passing out. I used to paddle canoes that are old as my grandfather, and when I look at these regulations that touches us, and I'm sitting down in Ipoh at my age and I can't go out there and catch whatever fish I want to catch. Now to me, that is disrespectful. For some of the reasons that I look at, I don't mind jet skis operating in the waters. But when you put a preserve in there and you start these motorcrafts in there, how wide is the ocean that you can see far enough to be able to regulate these things and yet have safety? You have all these things that are touched by the preserve. But when I see myself and my family and our people staying behind, or somebody is earning money and getting what they want from our substance and use of our culture, whoever it is that makes these laws should be ashamed of himself, because it is not for us, right for us. And when I look at these things today, how it's being regulated, and somebody stands there and tell me that I have to stay behind if I go to Retilan, I have to certain place that I have to mark off with a line and says do not enter. But yet, it didn't say preserve. When I look at the various things down in the bottom hole, which I was born down there, and I watched myself stand there, and yesterday my picture was used in that news for a 2-light permit. Why should I get a permit? Why? We have been given that rights only until the dictatorship of military and federal things. And respectfully, if I was to see this thing work, we work together and balance these things out. No matter what it is that we look at today, and I look at my children for generations, I teach my children and my nephews and all, I teach them how to fish. What do they have the leeway? Only jet skis, boats going in and out? channel, you can make Kumosupor dictate their law and tell us you can go fishing, only fishing line. Now, how do you all foresee this? We were given 3 days each if you go up to agriculture in the 1960s to use a first net as long as it's a time where people are not motivating it. We were given that time, but you take that away from us again because you want to curtail the various things that we deserve. And that is not right for anybody to come here and ask me for an ID so many times. You repeat it, I go in there. If I go through the reef, somebody will come out and ask me for an ID. Now, who's providing cultural perspective? In your own terminology and directions or regulations, who is providing what? You go to IPO and it says, Sejun Tio and all this kind of stuff. And you're going to tell me that I have to go catch maniahog when it's maniahog season and throw it from the shoreline? But yeah, you can make tourists go out there and step on these various corals? Are you guys watching that? No one. But when Talazero goes out there, handcuff. Why? Why am I being handcuffed? You should handcuff all those people that are stepping in these corals, and you guys should be watching and doing your job. We're the one who's providing cultural perspective. I don't see those tourists. Tourists are here to look at the culture inside of what we do. Jet ski sports and watercrafts is there. But do you ever ask yourself, how do they wash this equipment? With different soaps and detergents out there, you guys monitor those things? And do you know how much gas, fuel, and oil, let alone a while as mentioned, that these things are, corals are dying just let alone from the things they use on their face or the suntan lotion? I've been waiting for this moment to say a lot of things that I wanted to say, but when looking at this, I wish you all respect us and give us these regulations so that we can move forward and be able to balance each other in a perspective and respectful way. And I want you to know that even I myself, I want to piece back into those places that we have.
Thank you.
So what I'm going to say is in the ending, I hope the legislature and the senators recognize this because it is important. It is important for your children to be able to move forward. As we are gone, they are going to provide the next generation and get these things in their own teaching by their own parents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Talajero Farron. Next is Jim Richardson.
Hafaday. I am Jim Richardson, the Superintendent of War in the Pacific National Historical Park. I am pleased to provide you tonight with information about your national park's relationship with Guam fishing activities. Your National Park Service's mission on Guam has a major goal to conserve and interpret outstanding natural, scenic, and historic values and objects on the island of Guam. This includes maintaining, restoring, and protecting the integrity of natural resources and their values while providing appropriate opportunities to enjoy them. In accordance with the law, our intent is to maintain natural resources in the park in an unimpaired condition for present and future generations. More than half of Guam's national park area consists of submerged reef area. That's why I'm here tonight, to see how my staff and I can best coordinate with our Guam partners to maintain fishery resources to allow continuation of fish harvests and fishery traditions in the future. We have the authority to manage the resources in two popular reef fishing areas, Assen and Agate. Since our park's establishment in 1978, we have allowed and encouraged sustainable use of marine resources, which ensures continued availability of the resources for future generations to know and enjoy. We have always allowed fishing in our park waters as long as the activities conform to Guam laws, rules, and regulations and do not conflict with National Park Service regulations. Although the Park Service has the ability to create its own regulations, we prefer to partner with the government of Guam in educating about fisheries resources and managing marine environments. Any government of Guam fishing regulation changes will initiate National Park Service legal review and analysis once regulations are final. Guam fishing regulations that are non-conflicting with NPS regulations are adopted by 36 CFR 2.3. However, Department of Interior and National Park Service solicitors would likely need time and clarification to determine if and where legal conflicts exist. Solicitors will need to examine 16 USC 1A1, 43 CFR 24, and applicable case law. Such a determination by Department of Interior and National Park Service solicitors would take an unspecified amount of time to complete. We support the understanding of traditional fishing and teaching of traditional fishing methods and values. If you have not seen them yet, I encourage you to view the short educational videos and interactive displays focusing on traditional fishing on Guam, coral reef conservation, and related topics, which we present at the T. Stell Newman Visitor Center. This is your public visitor center just outside the entrance to the Navy base. It's open 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. every day of the year except Christmas and New Year's, and is always free. In keeping with our responsibilities to ensure that fisheries resources remain available for the enjoyment of future generations, we strongly support the continued management of Guam's existing marine preserves with limited traditional catch. The eastern end of the Petey Baumholz Marine Preserve actually falls within our Assen Beach Unit park boundaries. We must base our management on good scientific knowledge, and scientific studies have shown that fishing in our park benefits from the breeding populations of fishes protected in the marine preserves. Recent scientific research on Guam has shown that marine preserves have sustained or improved populations of popularly caught food fishes that are protecting fish spawning sites. Even our small preserves are adequately protecting important species that migrate out to areas where they can legally be harvested, including in your parks. We encourage activities in the park like the annual Kids Fishing Derby, our Reef Rangers and Reef Conservation Corps summer camps, and other ways of teaching youth to learn about and appreciate Guam's coral reef resources. We are seeking funding to involve the local community in assessing the marine resources and teaching traditional fishing methods. Thank you for the time to provide this information. We look forward to further cooperation in promoting knowledge of Guam's marine life and seeing that it remains available for future uses, including indigenous fishing.
Mr. Richardson, I just want to ask you one question. Do you know if any national park run by the National Park Service, like you are here in Guam, do you know if there's any national park in the United States mainland that prohibit Indians from fishing in the national park?
Certainly none that I know of.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Right, Mr. Kittichen? Yeah.
Don't have absentee ballot?
It's okay.
Let's try
That
to
should be,
be
yes, cultural. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Mike Gao, would you like to present or make comment or submit comment later? Okay.
Yeah, this is Mike Gowell, and just speaking from my life experiences here in Guam, I was really fortunate to be able to, for example, learn fishing from Tun Tenpot from Mighty in the old days. We used to go out and go there, and I appreciate what you're all talking about with the indigenous fishing and the traditional rights, and certainly we're trying to support it. And again, positive input that we can offer and any cooperation we will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gao.
Mr. Goldo, in your 40 years of fishing here in Guam, have you ever heard of hand fishing?
Okay, next is John Tetauto.
Test. Hello, good evening. Anyway, my name is John Tetauto. For those of you guys that don't know me, I do one of the big time fishing. Anyway, I do one of the big time fishermen here in Guam. Yes, I can comply with the indigenous fishing rights. I support these rights, but on the other hand, I'm going to refer some of it to Manny Dearness. Anyway, I'm not a small time fisherman, okay? I'm one of the big time, okay? So, if it's pertaining to indigenous fishing rights, I support that, okay? But when it comes down to a big time fisherman, Manny Dearness says, yeah, it puts a lot of money in my pocket, but it puts a hole in my pocket too. All right? because to prepare any kind of action that you do, it might be little, but it comes out of your pocket. But when you're doing a big operation, it puts a big hole in your pocket. My brother and I, we do a lot of fishing. Well, just now, we went into livestock, so it's not a small time livestock. We're doing big time. So we don't only depend on fishing, but we do livestock. Yes, I love this gathering, get together, exchange, accept, and release some of the whatever you got in your chest. Okay? In the event, in the preserve, I'll comply. I'll go there and fish. I'll even teach. I'm willing to teach. Okay? Because when I die, the knowledge I have, it's not everybody has this. Okay? My support of my brother gives me 100%, 150%. Okay? Yes, believe me, I could be very mean, but then I'll be very kind to you too. We all have this, we embrace something, we takaridi, everybody, we support, okay? We support one another. But education-wise, learn from the person next to you. But tomorrow's always say, "Oh, anak tungas." I know that, But when you go out there and I say, "Do you know what you're doing over here?" Huh? They don't know. Sometimes I have to kick even my nephew out of my boat. Okay? If he doesn't listen, because it costs too much time to start all over again. Okay? It costs too much time. And then, it's not every day that we teach. We're on the real thing. This is not a time to teach, right? This is listen, just listen, My brother Manny over there, he knows what I'm talking about. Okay. I do a lot of down in Agania, I run Agania. Paugo Bay, I run Paugo Bay. Joania, Cabras, Tony Diaz, I give the old man a chance to do his thing. Okay? Agat, but then they always ask me, "John, please give me a chance." Okay? I'll give you a chance. Unay tataga pufan lawa. But gini isti piskakune, I fish big. Okay? I'm not a joke. I'm not a joking kind of person when it comes down to a serious thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Ed Tadalta, would you like to make a comment? Yeah? I'll go next.
Lagi mo kita siyempre maungo. Tino, edi siya preserve niya kas man mahutsum. Maano lang ma-resta. O respeta edi preserve siya. Lozang ginimbaba edi preserve per si siya indigenous Chamorros na. Trisita fan ma-resta. Enigin nananga ipomababa edi preserve. The senior sti siya maniluta mameska sa ti manuhobi ni na manaham ko yun. Ezi preserve ki megay guyan niya ezi preserve. Megay guyan niya. Senior man mamukad siya i-tourist umum. Senior isagan niya. Senior lutsan piti. Loti senior samuro mameska. Tisinet semua mameska in respeta ezi ipabimarista. Umolo ki marista por pabipesca. Di malagobi pesca sa tranquilo na pabipesca. Basta ni pabiyo pegay keretao giza be ono zo mi pesca. Morto toti mazama keretao. noyam lugar da sinyama memeskan ni tau tono ni Chamorro ni Diritsun Momi. Haga sa din Nangazi preserve pa fa mababa. Mamipeskan gini gyocho bandalo in Nangazi preserve. Ko pa bimfan manoi Diritsun Momi. Zabim fameska. Thank you.
Buenas noches, Zanafade. Inaano si Danny H. Jackson. Gua ay magalahin ni Nasyon Chamorro. Gaigyo guni sa paisangan o supportis ti indigenous fishing rights. Da Malago loki na paisangan Manning Duenas. Sana mo si ni demo testimony ni pinatinas mo. Tipay kontraw. Sa sumbis ki estia taloani kana mumuho dan uno na lahyo sumbis ki hagauha mismo o paisin tres na lalayo to di tres lekko angin tadafan na bilan mimito la mona antes yo la 7 antes yo la 6 cosine me na sudai gini magi ki islatura tata supportis ti fishing rights ni dota indigenous rights. Pusunggan magay anak pinitio masobin na leong. Za kula nanahaso sa Manning Duenas guni. Pus estigi na mulala minute guni ki tanota fino angko Fred agon man mi abrotunya hit ni kontrahita hita mana akontra. Mango sofu kurosonta para itaw-taw sa nidon sa nibisita. Muna o sasangan esti sa anyo faisin ni tres na lalahyong iuno ni masobin tumatsu. Dapu di Amerikano no kinadunya deknya dat ang ginaw suporti na indigenous fishing rights sa pate manu si Joe Kaming ni ikinadu Amerikano para po peska. Pero atan magay ilayo da tumogyo mamao ikanzo. Da osungani ilayo lekko hafaday na mampusaw concern ni ikanadumo. Dat yun na atan na itres na lahimo da niya sa guamo. Ko baha na angin motoy oran ning kano. Ni ena un onyo esta ti un na iyo no utility ni para anum dan kandit da para gawa pe palulupo todo. Después mga na para pun suporti esti nilala mo sa mas niyaw kini kinadumo kini uno ki tres paggan mo pues usuan magay na ilayo nahunggan gwaho ni tata anakahulo si tataw dan sinanaw ni esti na klasin nilala pues gwaho ni tata ni antes di peitagi fan pei matay da peidimos tinatano orikoy do kuneto da para pei na edak pumeska maktu si officer redis tautay quaranti ki Africauter da anyukut sa 5 anyos napatgon si Quezon Z. Jackson. Ito ko nito, kumumonti isaw dati papay mapreso, Libiano, tanapodong siya lauti matugi ki nasokon tarda matugi titunusun ito, na ito malago o ipaito guya mauni maulik da polo da gida dialo o na dangsung ito na uniform da nibat niya. Sa kaudanya na angging gida, Zai patgon niya do matsogi kaya sa tema na sogi patgon no. Pus muna daw na gaigyo guni na hiningok pa ko na pupuenge dan manngesti otumono kwentos sa sinyata resibi todo mensahe tata ekungog da mono na nagagi piniligro da ito natatagi mo sakba tata dei law enggan magahit da pay hutuma talo ki pena kadada mas talo daw enggan magahit na manggos pinitihit hita ni man tomorrow hita ni man taw-taw inatibo hita ni man taw-taw tano manggos pinitihit ni bisita manggos pinitihit sa apa man mafanyaguhit para tafangay finaberesi gini alami karasonta dagwahan na brahin na suka rikunya itaw-taw kinihita ni pokbli tanah sagia di dede ni apa ginahata dan tapuluti di dede pa ipumalu no po sa hungkan pa hutuma kita guni hungkan gua sudah Jackson umbray talo mas gua magalain ni nation tomorrow guni natano o gaizam to todo dan saya masih ni tinuagun tani tauto nagolo ki secretaries ni antoni tauto department of agriculture ni in Sedian dayan babay pitan mito sa estas timon na tutso sa ano sa study video fanadan daw dangkulo na saya namasi para agon ito tinobla amin tinogon dan gaidam do saya namasi
I just want to put a parting speech of maybe 1 minute. I'm just one of the representative of an organization that consists of how many, 5 or 6 that are working on this, or 10. And I'm just one yet who support the idea of having 2 fishing rights regulation. One for native people and one for non-indigenous people. And we can go through that. We got a lot of examples we can pick from. There's a lot of native treaty rights in the United States that we could extrapolate to make sure that even the Supreme Court of the United States would support our rules. The other one is that I, as the Magalahi of this organization, supports the idea that the marine preserve are Indian reservations and only Indians can fish. All the other fishing traditional places outside of this Indian reservation fishing area will be regulated. And it'll be no more and no less than I being required to buy a fishing license in Kalama, Washington to fish salmon in their river. We have to buy that fishing permit for 6 months for $68. But it's not going to be that expensive. But this is a working document, and it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be something that we could look to guide us through conservation of our fish, in how to fish and sustain our fishing, not only our rights, but the fish population for those that are following us, and maybe for everybody to enjoy. But one thing we want to drive to non-indigenous people, that you really have to recognize that there are indigenous people here on Guam. And that might be the first step, because there are a lot of non-indigenous people here on Guam who do not recognize Chamorro rights. And I'm just asking that first step, you have to try your best to recognize, that we have the right for continued existence. Thank you.
Half a day. Zalay komentus talon braiza native fishing rights na. En tutun tatini tempo ni duruzugi Otrumbandansala ni Tomorrow Village pers matusi pagagi zugaza kantusio. Pensegui fanesti native fishing rights za sigia ma presu tau ta sigia pumana matai tau ta jadi matingan na lugar ni rigo mamatay tau ta. Pers makai na lelingnya pagat taza de resokta guni. Pers gi unhunta na zagwaw na chairman for the task force nin tutunesti nin duro in contra is legislatura tau tanu para este pres ingana pres in tutun task force gwaw chair gwe don li taza apas para amin islapi mamia Gwana Brian a las 2 gegan na mananazanam in na para junta esta otro bright lo za hasunay ni hafafa gwini parahita pues este na nin seguiste na parahita tau no za gwa under independence na the linya Manning US citizen na da all citizens of the Republic of the Sinahi Archipelago has the right to fish. Ezgi under citizenship la esta papago taza gwini US citizen lo sigia hita mohonyo papa ilain apaka kontra hita ha na tautawis. Mesmo na lelinya zona hita ha kontra hita. Hafa gwaha na yan po pare no. Puti za God mangkluzo meleso pumeskau huaswa tumum in 1975 no lii unhasuzi Vietnamese refugee ni duru matuwam siya mulatsay pres itagalu ni manazan Vietnamese itagalu duru malatsay Korean ni aliling ni tagwinya na dikiki aliling makakano madzadzama gwe Presidente pago na hita pago makaputa fan la mesmo mono na gaigit ko gaigit California par gaigit gom isgi na putiste don donkulo na problema este puta pensegui para itauta para ifamagonta the guahad retsun mia na sinya pago pumeska para preserve the willingness malay guiza agan reservation wow agan toda gwini na tasi zota zan hita ha sinya pumeska za utsagya malakuzung Palau Tsuk Pohnpei Philippines Fiji no sa nyo pago ta sinya mameska gigato na Palau malinyan huzung itasi ang masakanya huzung lo preciso sinay para ipamagonta. Nga gini peskudoto ni patgonzo lo utoge pikaro ututun manuli halum guihan gini Palau Pohnpei Tsuk zo bebindi gini za esta na uliin na Guam na duro zinama kitasi gini ni tataw sa nizo nga mas mesmo tataw sa nizo nga mulalat sa ito do ginahanta. Pero sige na inilignya si Paga nifan tututunis ti. Like shoot mo na tapaki si na problema mo na zo tana malik para hita. Pero por favor fan za siya man hunta puesti. Siya man hasu puesti. Press. Por favor fan basta fan man a kontra. Malazot ta fan a family zo ta mas tana mas mami sisti para hita. Sige. God mercy.
Thank you.
Ay, Senado, un minuto, ¿me cierra el minuto?
1 minute.
No.
1 minute.
Nagal besangan niam zo na dinansi siya niti na zililing ilay. La tatandanya na. La betungo giutumo ni pumatsogeste. Wama mababag mismo ta po kontra legislatura na munga gwe. Na Clauras tin anesto on bigatsong. Mga no fishing rights. Now, puede dati mao nyo zombe. Puede Zangi po fatil is turut po matsoges te una sepakat matay pulisman gini. Pwede ti masusedi este na wataw na riaw gini gi bagdata may sangas te magait una puputil medyo. Sangan ni magait ombi. Mungay na yuzu okay. Now audit ti malago patanapa maulit. Lo audit zumuzu lang. Mismo taw ta fino. Mismo taw tanun. Sangan ni no. Zurmase.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fred. And thank you very much for everyone. We're going to conclude the public hearing for tonight. Move to adjourn. And it's at 9:20. Okay. Thank you very much. For those who want to submit written comments, we'll give you 5 days to turn it in. And you can turn it in at the Department of Ag. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night and stay safe on the road.